Like previously on Riverdale.
Okay, so quick update. The foiling was generally a success. I'm pretty happy with that. The sampling, well, the ribbon didn't go so well, the foiling for the ribbon. So what I'm doing now is I'm resampling all over again. Essentially, I've wasted a bunch of ribbon. I mean, ribbon's not super expensive, but it is incredibly wasteful on my part, and I'm not sure where I went wrong. So that's a new plan. I'm gonna wait for this to dry, resample them, see how they go, and I'm gonna look at the pattern again, and we're gonna make a pattern for the epaulettes. So, Okay, so it happened. It's done. The foiling was a success. I managed to refoil the ribbons. So now they are exactly what I was after. I mean, okay, it's not exactly what I was hoping for. But it got to a point with these guys that I wasn't getting the results that I was hoping for. And in reality, I probably wasn't going to get the result that I was hoping for, because I think what I achieved in that initial sample was lightning in a bottle. For lack of a better phrase, I found the formula that kind of worked and got me closer to it, but the success rate for that aesthetic was so low that it wasn't feasible for me to try and do this for all of the fronts, and then also to do this again later for the sleeves. So I made a compromise, and that is what we see right here. So what I ended up doing is not diluting the Texaflock, the the flock and a foil, and applying it directly to the ribbon, but in very, very light amounts, and sort of allowing myself to add physical strokes. And you can sort of see, you can see where you can sort of see where the strokes were with the brush, and you can see where there's little holes and little, I got the texture that I was after, because to get this, the problem that I was having with this costume is that in the reference material, in the show, what we see of the trims is it's barely visible. All we can see is this metallic shine that is very difficult to distinguish whether it is a lace or a metal or a pleather. Like, because I mean, it could have well been a pleather that was used in the show, and they used a 3D printing sort of method or a vinyl cutting sort of method, and that's what they settled on, because they could just design exactly what they were after, and that's what it is. That could very well be what happened in the show. But to get what I was trying to achieve was to get that aesthetic, that sort of rustic, kind of shiny sort of aesthetic on the trims, because I didn't want an ultra shiny little trim on there, because I could have found a ultra shine gold pleather or PVC. I could have painted something with a, just a regular spray paint, a bright colored spray paint, but it wouldn't have got the effect that I achieved by doing this. So by applying it directly to the ribbon, I got a little bit of those little, so you can see a little bit of black. So I got those mistakes and that unevenness and the edginess, that's a good word, the edginess that I was hoping to achieve in the art finishing for these trims. So I am happy. It's just a very unfortunate road to eventual success. But you know what? That's cosplay, and that's costuming in general. So I mean, I'm happy. And oh yes, so we've got the back. Can you see that sheen? It's so beautiful. I would put it on the mannequin, but it's not very flattering. It's the back is quite a bit longer on this guy, and it's just not going to fit. But I'm going to put this on, actually, seeing as it's in a wearable state, like I said it would be. Yeah, we'll see how this looks. I did end up seaming it together right on the seam. Like, I took it all the way in at the 2 centimeters. I put quite a lot of seam allowance on this just because I didn't want to have to recut this. I mean, I would have found a way if there wasn't enough seam allowance, but I wanted to give myself plenty of leeway for the con crunch that is currently upon us. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I feel like I'll probably have to let it out in the shoulders. I don't think I'll want to put any shoulder pads in this, because obviously we've got the epaulettes, which I haven't talked about yet. So it just seems kind of a bit redundant to put shoulder pads in something that's going to have like a shoulder feature anyways. I did do a little bit of a time lapse. I'm not sure how much of that is legible for anyone watching at home, but here's what we ended up with. So I think this is the golden child, the one that I'm happy with. Quite a bit bigger. I'm not sure if I'm going to add a little bit more shaping to the back. I think it looks good on me, but I may need to make it because the thing is that when I drew this freehand, the pattern freehand, I didn't make sure that they were exactly mirrored on the other side. I probably should have started with a perfectly mirrored piece and then added on as required, but I didn't. But I don't think that's a bad thing because I ended up having a bit more length on this side, on the front, and having more of a shape that curved around and came to a little bit of a point. It's not... I may change this. I may add a little bit more so that I get a much more of a point there. But I'm not set on that. Just because there's going to be trim going all around this bottom edge and then a second row of trims that go all the way and finish right here. So I think I'll still get the effect that I'm after with the epaulettes, but it's going to look very different once I actually... I'll probably fuse these when I cut these in the Spanish brocade. So it's going to be it's going to hold its shape a lot more. Because right now it's just a floppy mess. And yeah, I'll need to also take this off, cut it up, and make a pattern from this. Because as you can see, I've taken this in quite a bit more than I allowed for in the pattern. But that's okay. This becomes a new pattern, so we're laughing. Now, this guy was my first epaulette. Now, I thought this one was still going to be the one that I went with because even though I made a different pattern with this guy and started to play around with the form a little bit more and experiment, I was still leaning more towards this because I didn't have it in 3 separate pieces on this one. It's actually just the one piece cut with little darts that are marked, and it turned out really well. I mean, I could get away with this and just copying the shaping that's on the version 2 of the Epaulette Toile. But yeah, it's still a very nice shape. It's a really tough call between these two. Really tough call. But yeah, that's in a good spot. For something that was you know, a little distraction while I was waiting for my my 4th foiling attempt to dry. Not bad result. Not a bad result at all. So yeah, happy with them. Can make a pattern from that, but that'll be another job later on. And yeah, let's put this guy on. Oh, I do need to actually seam together the sleeve, so I'll do that real quick, and then I'll put on this guy. Yes. I feel like it almost looks better to have this kind of unbuttoned, you know? But for the purposes of this, I'm gonna do that. Sleeve. One sec. Give this a quick press, and you can chuck on that jacket. Excuse me. Now, I can already see that this is going to be a little bit of a problem. So, can you tell what is wrong with this sleeve? Keeping in mind, this is a jacket sleeve. It's a bit tight. Shit. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay. Well, look, I'm still gonna put on the jacket. We're still gonna get the money shot for the end of this video. So we'll forego the sleeve, and I'll come back to that because honestly, it was gonna be it's just gonna be me staring at myself in a mirror, working out whether I'm gonna move this way or this way. So I don't think you guys will miss that content. So look, we'll come back to the sleeve, but for now, let's do this. All right, my elastic braces. So I wasn't gonna put braces on my pants, Jaskier's pants. Hang on, you see it? So they're just a bit of elastic that I've machined onto the bottom of the waistband. So it's just, I'll take them off if I open the jacket or if I'm posing just without the jacket. But for the sake of my own personal safety, everyone else's safety, I don't want to trip over myself because these pants are huge and they're actually a lot heavier than they look. Just something to keep them up, to stay up. So let's put this guy on. So excited for this because I did have a little sneaky try on last night, but this is different. I didn't put on the shirt and I didn't put on the pants, so this is all very new. So which side? This is the overlap side. Okay. God help me at supernova when I don't have a mirror to do this. Hold on. Okay. Now, see if I can, see if I can, it's just not gonna work. Can't really see me. Well, look, I'll give you a little bit of a spin. How's that? I mean, I can't see the back of me, but I'm gonna assume it looks good. Now you can't see this whole thing. I put it all on and you can't see it. I'm gonna try a different setup. 1 sec. Okay. How are we looking? See, I put the heels on, so you're welcome. All right. Now, I would try and pin this, but it's very difficult to pin fronts on yourself, especially when I'm dealing with a lot of bulk. Okay. Look at that. All right. Give you a spin. Okay, so first note, I am gonna have to let it out at the shoulders and also at the hips. So there is a 2.5 centimeter hem, little turn up that I've got for this. So this is going to be the finished length. So finishing just probably 3.5 inches down from the waistband. And I think I've got quite a bit of seam allowance to let this out with. So I'll let out the hip to max. Just let this all the way out, which will be good because as soon as I let out that, I'll get a little bit more of this trim showing. So that's good. No complaints about that. This has no seam allowance, so need to cut a facing for this. And I can insert my Rouleau belt loops, button loops, sorry. And fold this over, and then I can attach those little buttons, because where did I put them? I'll show you now that I have a better setup. Now that it's together, because look at that. Look at that. Can't complain about that. All right. So that's my notes. Let it out at the hip to max. I'll do a proper fitting in front of a mirror. I have a feeling something funky going on here. I could probably let it out at the side seams just near the chest here, give myself a little bit of room, because I know I did cut the sleeve to about maybe, the sleeve head was about 3 centimeters larger than the armhole here, the finished armhole. So I need to make it quite a lot bigger on that, and also take into account that I'm going to let this out probably 1.5. It's not actually super tight. Like this, if I do let out the shoulders maybe a centimeter, that's another centimeter I've got there. I could let this out probably a centimeter as well. So a total of about a centimeter. That should be plenty, because I can get this on. It's comfortable. It's not uncomfortable or super tight by any means. I do have to consider that there's going to be a lining in this, but it's a triacetate of some kind, so it should be fine. Don't need to worry too much about that. It's just getting these sleeves on and being able to move my arms. I think that's something that I want to be able to do. So yeah. So let them out. Let out the side seam. Take in. So here's what I was talking about. I don't know if you can see, but it's got like it's doing this kind of a bubbling thing. There's that's not my rib cage. That's just empty space. So it's doing a ballooning out a little bit. And we've already got enough of that here. So we'll fix that. Let this out to max. So it'll end up just being sort of just belling out at my hips. And that should sit comfortably on me, because as it's sitting right now, I could close it. I could ignore all of these notes and just sew it together and have it close with the buttons at the front, and this could bell out. I mean, it would still look. I think it would still look cool, but for the sake of I want it to be able to sit flush, and if I move, I want that little opening to come with movement myself, not just squeezing into this and it's sort of, So yeah, that's good. I'm gonna fix this camera because I'm not gonna like looking at this in Premiere, this portrait thing. So pause that. We'll come back to this in landscape. Okay. I think I mucked up the eye line here, but it's fine for now. So, that's it. That's it. The jacket's in a wearable state. The video's done. It took quite a bit longer than I thought it would. The hiccup with the ribbon and the foiling was something that I didn't foresee happening. And it's really interesting. Like no matter how much you sample something, shit like this can still surprise you. Which is it's fine. That's part of the journey, and you know it's good content. But I'm spewing that I didn't knock this out a lot quicker. This was shot over 3 days, so I mean you can probably tell. But yeah, look, it's done. I'm happy with the results. I'm gonna repeat and do this whole again for the sleeves, but that's okay. So the next step for this costume, as you can see, the jacket is still a work in progress, but the shirt and the pants, they are all good to go. So that's one less thing I need to worry about before Supernova. I think I'll make it. I think I can make that deadline. So yeah, as for the next video, I think that'll just be pretty. That should be. I think that's just going to be a simple one. I'm just going to machine together the do the toile, fit the sleeve, and then just machine the sleeve. I'm not going to document all the art finishing again. That was very traumatizing. But I'm excited to start on that because that is a very interesting piece. I mean, this was interesting, but that is a whole nother thing. I'm going to put up the picture again because look at that. That's going to be a lot of work, but I'm excited. So thank you for watching. Feel free to follow my Instagram for just to keep up to date with the builds. I'm more active on that anyways, but also I'm going to be posting videos on here. So this is where the videos are. Instagram is where I'll post, work in progress photos and stuff. So that's where I'll be. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks for watching.